In 1947, General Electric launched the first combined refrigerator-freezer, ushering in a revolution in food preservation.
Soon, for miles around, the neighbors and friends learned of this new oasis and brought their butter, milk, and eggs for safekeeping.
Food could be stored safely longer in the refrigerator with huge convenience over ice boxes or root cellars, and kept practically indefinitely in the freezer. But while food was nearly eternal in the freezer, the taste became lifeless over time, all thanks to freezer burn. Let's talk the physics of freezer burn, why your food is still safe to eat even if it tastes worse, and the best ways to prevent it. If you like learning about the history and science of food, hit the subscribe button for new videos weekly. Freezer burn is your food drying out in the freezer, which sounds surprising that something frozen can dry out. That means the water inside your food is moving outside the food. But if the water is frozen, how is it moving around? Let's start with a more familiar example. When water boils at 212 Fahrenheit or 100 Celsius, we can very visibly see how water goes from a liquid to a gas. Keep boiling and eventually all of that water will evaporate away, leaving nothing in the pot. But you also know that if you leave that glass of water out on the counter, over time it also evaporates. It's not boiling, but it's still evaporating. How is that possible? The freezer burn equation is an equation of temperature and pressure. And this is where we need to define both temperature and pressure a little more precisely. Temperature is the average kinetic energy, or the energy of motion, of the molecules in something. The key word here is average. Some molecules are moving faster, and some are moving slower, but average that all together and you get the temperature. And we actually can know how many molecules are moving faster and slower because their speeds follow a specific distribution. That means at a given temperature, we can calculate what percentage of molecules are moving at what speed. So what does that all mean? Even in your frozen food, there is some very small percentage of the water molecules that are moving really fast enough to escape and change phases from solid to gas. The difference between boiling water, room temperature water, and frozen water is how many molecules are moving fast enough to escape. Boiling water has a lot more, room temperature water doesn't have as many, and frozen water has even less. The second part of the freezer burn equation is pressure, specifically vapor pressure. Think of this kind of like a humid day. When it's really humid, the air feels wet and sticky, meaning there's more water in the air, and so the water already in the air is pushing back against more water coming in. It's saying we're full. When it's dry out instead, there's less water to push back, meaning more can turn into vapor and it's welcoming more water in. You can see this effect with a glass of water on the counter. It will evaporate a lot slower on a humid day than a dry day, assuming it's the same temperature. Your freezer has a built-in dehumidifier in the form of the defrost cycle. Over time, water from the air in the freezer and your food will deposit itself as ice on the cooling coils of the freezer, kind of like how a thin layer of ice appears on a frosted mug of beer. Most freezers will periodically run a defrost cycle to melt this ice and drain it out of the freezer, improving the efficiency of the freezer. However, this also means over time your freezer is removing more and more water, reducing the pressure of water in the air and making it easier for more water in your food to escape. So what can be done to prevent freezer burn? Let's look back at the equation. As we learned, some small percentage of water molecules have enough energy to escape even when it's frozen. We can make that percentage even smaller by reducing the temperature even lower. But this is probably not the best approach, as most home freezers can't get much colder, and you'll end up using a lot more energy. The other part of the equation is pressure. We could pressurize our freezer, but this isn't something you'll find in a freezer outside of a lab. We also don't want to stop the dehumidifying effects of the defrost cycle, but we can shield our food from it. By sealing our food airtight, we create a closed environment. But if we leave too much air in the bag, there's still room for some of that water to escape our food, and we'll still get freezer burn. This is why vacuum sealing food, removing as much space and volume inside the container for water to escape to, is our best defense against freezer burn. A very small amount of water turning into a gas is enough to increase the humidity of the vacuum-sealed container, ensuring the rest of the water is forced to stay in the food itself. Hope you learned something about freezer burn and how to stop it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more food history and science. Thanks for watching.